Welcome everybody to JenTalks, and this is the long-awaited video for sleep. So before I start, I want to ask you to, or I suppose invite you to think about how active your mind is throughout the day, because on the experience I have working in workshops and people coming up to me, I'm talking about hundreds of different people. The link between restless sleep is and the active mind is intertwined in my experience. So I'm going to come back to this point, but realistically, today, how likely is it that that mind is going to be tamed enough for you to have quality sleep or to be able to fall asleep? Or more importantly, the biggest complaint that I get from people is falling back asleep. So even if they can fall asleep themselves, so if they fall asleep okay at nighttime, it's the falling back asleep when they wake up in the middle of the night, whether they want to use the loo or there's a certain time that they wake up. So I'm going to unravel that myth for you tonight. The point about the overactive mind is you can't expect an overactive mind that isn't dealt with during the day to all of a sudden be tamed at nighttime. So I would invite you to look at what you're doing to calm the overactive mind during the day. And the simple tools for for calming the overactive mind are absolutely meditation, but thankfully it's not the only way, because a lot of people really struggle with that idea of being able to meditate or not being able to meditate. So meditation is powerful for calming the mind during the day. Mindfulness exercises, and all you need is a 2-minute exercise 2 to 3 times a day. Be something as simple as a cup of tea, a mindfulness walk, a mindfulness breath. I have loads of videos all over my channel around breath and mindfulness exercises, so have a look there. And when you do your mindfulness or your meditation, what you're doing is you're building your mental fitness. So when the mind is fit, it's much more likely to sleep. And then the other thing that will build mental fitness is actually joy. So something switches off and you can just tune out. So that's really what you're doing. You're giving your mind a little rest where you can just tune out for that couple of minutes or whatever time you're doing your activity. A lot of people would find that they tune out when they're doing exercise. So anything that causes your mind to just tune out and for you to just go and be in flow is really powerful for taming the mind. And of course, consistency. So consistent meditation, mindfulness, or joyful activities that put you in flow. So remember, it's as important to look after the mind during the day, just automatically turn into a calm mind just because you want to go to sleep. So if you're having trouble getting to sleep or getting back to sleep, have a look at what your quality of your mind is like. If you're a major overthinker during the day, that's going to follow through into the nighttime. And not just getting a sleep, but the quality of sleep that you have. A lot of people I talk to would have night terrors. They have different kind of things that go on for them during their sleep. So nightmares, just be conscious of how the quality of your mind during the day. Okay, so now let's get to the sleep part. So the sleep term, but I can't think of a better term at the moment, kind of sleep hygiene. So what are you doing just before you go to bed? Now I'm going to fly over this part because this is the real kind of boring. Everybody already knows this kind of stuff. How much coffee are you having? How much activity are you having? How much stimulation are you having? Exposed to computers, IT, all that kind of stuff. So we know all that kind of stuff. So just have a little look at your sleep hygiene. Ask yourself the purpose of your room. Is your room also being used for a workspace? There might be a ritual that you need to do to sort of decompartmentalize, like that's your workspace, that's your sleep space, like that. If they're all running into it. So just have a little look at what you're preparing yourself to do for sleep before you get to sleep. Now, the big thing that most people don't think about when it comes to sleep is the story that they tell themselves about sleep. I'm Ireland's worst sleeper, I've been told. I can only ever manage to get 4 hours sleep. Some of us give ourselves a self-diagnosed label of insomnia. I'm not saying that other people genuinely haven't been given that by a practitioner or a medical professional. So we buy into labels and stories about our level of sleep based on the fact that we're not necessarily getting the 8 hours that everybody knows that everybody should get. And the reason to just remind you that these are only sayings or quotes from people based on an average person on an average day. So if you think about the billions of people in the world, all different shapes and sizes, cultures, activity, weight, everything, do you honestly think that every single human on this planet needs 8 hours sleep? It's unlikely, isn't it? So think about every person has a different requirement for sleep. I would say I can function quite well on 6 hours. That's good enough for me. Now, if I get 8, if I get 10, that's a bonus. But the body wakes up when it's had enough sleep. So you find your own rhythm for what's actually required for you, rather than measuring it against an unrealistic measurement like something like 8 hours. Mind about, I can only ever sleep for 4 hours and that's me. I can't get back to sleep. Or I wake at 3 o'clock and then that's it. Or if I don't have 4 hours, well, if I'm not in bed by 9 o'clock, then that's it. I'm doomed. Or whatever the story might be. That is going to affect your behavior. It's actually determining your behavior, because the mind's job is to show you exactly what you believe about yourself. So watch the belief system about your sleep. If you want to start improving your sleep, start by telling yourself that you can sleep anywhere very easily and you have great quality sleep. And also, here's something really powerful. A belief doesn't have to be true to be a belief. So if you start to tell yourself that now, it will become your actual behavior. Now, getting back to the actual beliefs, beyond the belief, then we've set the belief in place that we can sleep really well at night. We can go back to sleep really easily. We have systems that we need to put in place, or tools or strategies is probably a better word, to help us sleep. My favorite of them all is box breath. And the reason for this is because I would say this is the tool that I get the most positive feedback from on courses, workshops, and talks that I do all over the country. People contact me after and say, my God, Jenny, I was really struggling with sleep until I tried this. Now, there's millions of other tools out there, but this is the one that I get the most feedback from. So this is the one I'm sharing. And if anybody wants a copy of a handout, a breath handout, a little video, another video that I've done specifically on breath, contact me, send me a DM, PM, email, you know the score, and I'll come back to you with the handout and the little video attached in the email. Completely free of charge, no strings attached. I won't put you on my mailing list or anything like that. So breath being one of the 4 cornerstones of well-being. Sleep being another one of the 4 cornerstones of well-being. There's no coincidence that they're absolutely intertwined. So here's, first of all, what the exercise is and then why it works so well. So the idea is that we breathe in through our nose for the count of 4, ideally through our nose, always ideally through our nose where possible. Secondly, we hold that breath for the count of 4. So we count 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. That's what we mean by the count of 4. Then we let that breath out for the count of 4. And then before we take our next inhale, we hold that breath again for the count of 4. And then we repeat that. So here's why this exercise works. Because the mind is used to breathing in. It's used to holding the breath after we breathe in, and it's used to breathing out. But it's not used to holding the breath after the out breath. And it's the struggle of the mind wanting to take an inhale and not being allowed to, that takes full concentration and clears the mind for sleep. So if you want to give it a try, it's in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, and hold for 4, and repeat until sleep comes. It probably will take you 3 to 4 rounds, if even that. And like I said, I have a handout. If you Google square breathing, box breath, it's the same principle. I won't get into now how it was developed and why it's so powerful. I can share that on another talk. I just really want to talk about breath. So here's the thing about breath, sleep, is what sleep requires in order to come is a clear mind. And the mind now is so super stimulated. So it's, years ago we were taught to count sheep, and that's the mind would count, imagine sheep jumping over a fence, and that was enough to clear the mind. The mind is so advanced now that we can count sheep, do a shopping list, have a row with somebody, plan our work schedule all at the same time, instead of just one item. So we need something really powerful to anchor the mind, and that holding the breath after the out breath as part of the box breath exercise, as well as counting and concentrating, is a really powerful exercise for bringing sleep about. So that's the one kind of exercise I'm going to give you this week. Next week, I'm going to continue on this breathing theme. So I'm going to give you another tool for breath, or another tool for sleep. And if you do have success, or I should say when you have success with this, let me know, whether it's under the comments of this video so other people can see how powerful the tools are, or you can contact me directly. You know, you have my contact details. So guys, that's all for me. I'm trying to keep the videos under 10 minutes to just share those little nuggets with you as much as possible. And I will see you back here next week at the same time on JenTalks. Thank you so much for joining me again over this weekend or this evening, whenever you get a chance to catch this call. And I look